What happened in Nutbush in the summer of 1958 changed Anna Mae's life forever. The little girl had never used a microphone before, but when she took that metal rod in her hand, it was as if she had met a friend she had been waiting for years to find. The magic that began in that moment would change the history of world music. June 15, 1958, Nutbush Baptist Church, Tennessee. The hot morning air had enveloped the small town, but the thick wooden walls of the church kept the interior cool. This wasn't an ordinary Sunday. Today was the annual Children's Praise Service Day, and the entire town had been preparing for this special event for weeks. Nutbush was a small town near the Mississippi border in northwest Tennessee. In the late 1950s, its population didn't exceed 500. Most residents made their living from cotton farming or forestry work. The center of the town's social life was Nutbush Baptist Church. Built in 1890, this wooden structure was not just a place of worship, but also the community center. The Children's Praise Service at Nutbush Baptist Church was a sacred tradition that had been held since 1925. Every year on the second Sunday of June, all the children in town could showcase their talents in front of their families. Some recited poetry, some played musical instruments, and some sang. This wasn't just a show, it was a sacred way to support the spiritual development of the next generation. 8-year-old Anna Mae Bullock felt butterflies dancing in her stomach when she woke up that morning. Her mother Zelma Jones Bullock and father Floyd Richard Bullock were among Nutbush's respected families. Floyd worked as a laborer at the local cotton factory, while Zelma was a homemaker who also did part-time sewing for neighbors. Though the family lived modestly, they placed great importance on education and community values. "Anna Mae, get up now," said Zelma, sitting on the edge of her daughter's bed. "Today could be a special day for you. Pastor Williams spoke with me yesterday. He wants to have you perform on stage at this morning's children's service." Anna Mae's eyes widened. Perform on stage? Stand in front of that big microphone? Her heart started beating rapidly. "But I don't know what to do, Mama," she murmured, trying to hide under the covers. "You're always singing," Zelma said lovingly. "When working in the cotton fields, when washing dishes, when playing in the garden. Your voice is so beautiful, honey." Pastor noticed it too. Anna Mae was wearing carefully chosen clothes that morning. Her blue dress with white lace collar was a special piece that Zelma had sewn with her own hands. Her shiny black patent leather shoes were precious items saved only for church and special occasions. The white satin ribbon her mother had placed in her hair sparkled in the sunlight. Floyd Bullock was watching his daughter while tying his tie in front of the mirror that morning. Anna Mae's talent for music was a special gift the family had noticed. Even when the little girl was just learning to read and write, she could perfectly imitate songs she heard on the radio. She captured not just the melody, but the emotional nuances as well. "Our daughter is really different, Zelma," Floyd had said last week. "Her connection to music isn't ordinary. It's as if music is the natural language of her soul." As they walked to church, they strolled down Nutbush's main street. White painted wooden houses, wide porches, old oak trees. This was the world Anna Mae was born and raised in. But that morning, everything looked different, as if fate was preparing her for a special journey. Nutbush Baptist Church was the largest and most magnificent building in town. Its 2-story wooden structure, white paint, and bell tower were worth seeing. Inside there were 150 capacity pews, wooden floors, and stained glass windows. But in Anna Mae's eyes the most impressive detail was that shiny microphone stand standing right in the center of the stage. This microphone was a major investment for the church. Purchased from Memphis in 1955, it was a marvel of modern technology. Pastor Williams believed this microphone would make worship more meaningful. He was especially confident it would help children express themselves better. Pastor Jonathan Williams was the 10-year pastor of Nutbush Baptist Church. A graduate of Emory University's School of Theology, this 45-year-old man had a personality that blended both modern education and traditional values. Tall, cheerful, and he had a special bond with children. His passion for discovering children's potential had made him a beloved figure in the community. "Margaret," he had told his wife last week, "there's something very special about Anna Mae Bullock. I noticed it when watching her in the church choir. The way she listens to music, how she feels rhythm. It's as if music is part of her DNA. This talent should be developed." Margaret Williams was an experienced woman who was a teacher, and she trusted her husband's observations. "Then give her an opportunity, Jonathan. Have her perform on stage on this special day." Church service began at 10 a.m. When the congregation took their seats, the church was packed full. Nutbush's leading families sat in the front rows: the Henderson family, local store owner; the Williams family, doctor; the Johnson family, teacher; the Brown family, farm owner; and of course the Bullock family. The social hierarchy of this small community was clearly visible in the church pews. Anna Mae sat next to her family, focusing on the microphone on stage. That shiny metal rod sparkled in the sunlight. It had small buttons, a metal mouthpiece, and a black cable on it. For Anna Mae, this device seemed both fascinating and mysterious. The first half of the worship service proceeded traditionally. Pastor Williams delivered his sermon on faith and youth. The congregation sang familiar hymns: "How Great Thou Art," "Blessed Assurance," "In the Sweet By and By." Anna Mae knew these hymns by heart and silently moved her lips to accompany them. But the real excitement began with the children's praise service section. "Dear congregation," said Pastor Williams, taking the stage, "now we will celebrate the talents of our future generation. Our children are our hope. Hearing their voices is one of the greatest gifts God has given us." First, 12-year-old Samuel Henderson took the stage. He recited Robert Frost's "The Road Not Taken" poem. His voice was clear and understandable, his performance successful. The congregation politely applauded. Then 10-year-old Mary Johnson took the stage and played her flute. She played the Danny Boy melody, and the sound was truly beautiful. It was obvious she had received musical training. The congregation applauded appreciatively. Third, the Johnson siblings, 9-year-old Thomas and 7-year-old Patricia, took the stage and sang "Jesus Loves Me." Their voices were harmonious. Their performance was sweet and exciting. Anna Mae watched each performance, but her mind was constantly on the microphone. How were the children using that metal rod? Weren't their hands trembling? What did it feel like to speak into the microphone? Anna Mae Bullock. Pastor Williams' voice echoed in every corner of the church. "Would you come to the stage?" Anna Mae's heart stopped. The 150 people around her looked at her. Her mother's encouraging smile, her father's proud gaze, and the curious eyes of the congregation members. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion like a film. "Come on, honey," Zelma whispered. "Pastor wants to talk to you. Don't be afraid, you sing so beautifully." Anna Mae slowly stood up. Her legs were trembling, but her feet carried her toward the stage. Every step on the wooden floor echoed in the church. Eyes were on her, breaths held, everyone wondering what this little girl would do. When she took the stage, Pastor Williams looked at her with a warm smile. "Anna Mae, I know you love music very much. We hear you constantly singing at home. Would you sing us a song here, in church?" Anna Mae nodded, but no sound came out. Her throat was dry, her hands were trembling. Pastor Williams walked toward the microphone stand. "This microphone," he said gently, "will help your voice reach everyone. It's like a magical device. There's nothing to fear. Just reach out and hold it. It will be your friend." Anna Mae looked at the microphone. That shiny metal surface was reflecting the sunlight, filtering through the stained glass windows in the church. The device seemed alive, as if it was breathing. Her little hand slowly reached out. When her fingers touched the cold metal of the microphone, an electrical wave passed through her body. This wasn't painful. On the contrary, it was a warm, familiar, reassuring feeling, as if she had met a friend she had been searching for a long time. "Hello," she whispered into the microphone, testing her voice. Her own voice echoed in the church, and Anna Mae widened her eyes in amazement. This was her voice, but much stronger, much clearer, much more magical. "Whoa," she murmured again, and her voice echoed once more. The congregation began to giggle sweetly, but in a respectful and loving way. Pastor Williams smiled. "You see, the microphone is listening to you. Now sing us a beautiful song, Anna Mae. What's your favorite song?" Anna Mae continued playing with the microphone. She gently pulled it toward herself, then moved it away. With each movement, her voice was heard in different tones. This discovery was fascinating, addictive. "Amazing Grace," she whispered. This was one of the songs she sang most often at home with her mother. She knew its melody by heart. "Perfect choice," said Pastor Williams enthusiastically. "This is one of our church's favorite hymns. Start when you're ready." Anna Mae took a deep breath. She gripped the microphone firmly with both hands. At that moment, a confidence she had never felt in her life enveloped her. It was as if this microphone had been specially designed for her, as if it had been waiting and preparing for this moment for years. "Amazing Grace," how sweet the sound. The moment the first words came out of her mouth, there was deep silence in the church. Anna Mae's voice came out of the microphone and completely filled the church. But this wasn't just simple amplification. This was something else, something magical. There was a depth in her voice that was impossible for an 8-year-old child to have. Emotional richness, musical maturity, spiritual power. That saved a wretch like me. Elderly Mrs. Elizabeth Henderson, sitting in the front rows of the congregation, took out her handkerchief and wiped her eyes. This voice reminded her of memories from years past. Her grandmother's voice, spirituals from the slavery era, the days she grew up in the South. "I once was lost, but now I'm found." Pastor Williams watched Anna Mae in amazement. This child was acting as if she had been friends with the microphone since birth. Voice control, breathing technique, emotional expression, stage presence. These were things normally learned through years of training, but Anna Mae seemed to already know them. "Was blind, but now I see." Floyd Bullock leaned toward his wife and whispered, "Zelma, is this really our Anna Mae? This voice, this performance, where is it coming from?" Zelma just nodded. Her eyes were teary, filled with pride. When the last note finished, there was deep silence in the church. It was as if time had stopped. Then first one person, then another, then the entire congregation stood up and began applauding. This wasn't ordinary applause. This was the applause of witnessing a miracle, of sharing an extraordinary moment. Anna Mae was still holding the microphone in her hand. This metal rod no longer felt foreign to her. It was as if it was a natural extension of her body. "Anna Mae," said Pastor Williams, his voice trembling with excitement. "This was magnificent, incredible. Please, would you sing us one more song? The congregation wants to hear your voice more." Anna Mae looked around. 150 people were applauding her, smiling, wanting more. She was no longer afraid, no longer shy. The microphone was her true friend. "Swing low, sweet chariot," said Anna Mae decisively. She was no longer hesitant, having found a real friend in the microphone. This second performance was much more powerful than the first. Anna Mae was literally dancing with the microphone. She was pulling it closer and farther away, masterfully changing the tone of her voice, creating natural musical effects. At 8 years old, without any formal training, she was acting as if she had been on professional stages for years. In the middle of the song, she suddenly stopped and turned to the crowd. "Sing with me," she called out in her small but powerful voice. This spontaneous behavior surprised even Pastor Williams. The congregation joined her without hesitation, and the church was filled with the sounds of "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot." When the second song ended, the congregation jumped to their feet again. This time the applause lasted exactly 7 minutes. Nothing like this had ever happened in the 68-year history of Little Nutbush Baptist Church. Even the elderly were wiping their eyes. "This child has a special gift from God," said Pastor Williams, his voice trembling with emotion. "Anna Mae, this microphone is now your special friend. You can come here and use it whenever you want." Pastor Williams' words were creating a historical moment in the church. No child had ever been offered such a thing before. After the service officially ended, everyone in the church seemed to be lining up to talk to Anna Mae and her family. Elderly Mrs. Carter was an experienced woman who had lived in Nashville for many years and had been to the Grand Ole Opry many times. "You must send this girl to professional music education," she said to Floyd with absolute determination. "Such talent should not be lost in a small town. This child could succeed even in Nashville, even in New York." Mr. Henderson, the town's wealthiest businessman, offered to provide a scholarship for Anna Mae's music education. "This voice could be recognized worldwide," he said enthusiastically. From that day on, Anna Mae's life completely changed. Pastor Williams specially invited her to perform solo every Sunday morning. Zelma bought a small microphone from Memphis so her daughter could practice at home too. Most importantly, Anna Mae's magical relationship with the microphone deepened with each passing day. With every use she discovered new techniques, better understanding the true power and potential of her voice. The microphone had become not just a voice amplifier for her, but a means of expressing her soul. Months passed, and Anna Mae's fame rapidly exceeded the small boundaries of Nutbush. People from surrounding towns, even from Memphis, began coming to the church specifically to listen to her. Music teachers made evaluation visits. In the summer of 1959, exactly 1 year later, famous music producer Sam Phillips came from Memphis to Nutbush specifically. After listening to Anna Mae, he told the family, "This child is not just talented, this child is music itself. And that microphone, it's as if it was specially created for her. This is divine harmony." Years later, as Tina Turner, she would tell about that first day. "People ask how I started in music. I didn't start music. Music found me. The moment I took that microphone, I understood my life's purpose." Pastor Williams often spoke about how witnessing her performance changed his understanding of divine gifts. God places extraordinary talents in unexpected packages. An 8-year-old who barely reaches the microphone. The other children who performed that day recalled how Anna Mae's moment transformed their relationship with music. Mary Johnson became a music teacher, always telling students about witnessing pure magic. Samuel Henderson later became a radio DJ, frequently playing Tina Turner songs and sharing the story of that transformational Sunday. The microphone became local legend. Children would ask to use Anna Mae's microphone. Pastor Williams always agreed, but none achieved the same magical connection. The device seemed awakened by her touch. Mrs. Henderson, who wept during the performance, lived to 95. She would tell about the day heaven opened in our church. In her journal, "I witnessed something beyond human understanding." Today there's a bronze plaque at Nutbush Baptist Church. On June 15, 1958, Anna Mae Bullock met the microphone. That day the world gained Tina Turner. Every year, fans visit that church seeking to understand greatness' origins. The current pastor maintains the tradition, allowing visitors to see the original microphone. Pastor Williams lived to 90. His last words in 2010, "The day I introduced Anna Mae to that microphone, I knew I was part of God's plan. She really did show the world music's power." But it all began that Sunday morning when little hands grasped the microphone and found transformation. In 2005, she reflected, "When I first took the microphone at age 8, I felt like coming home. That metal rod was cold, but my soul warmed. I knew this is my language, my weapon, my power." The church still stands with that bronze plaque, a reminder when music history changed in small-town Tennessee. The microphone that started it all, that remains the church's most closely guarded secret. But every Sunday, when children of Nutbush take the stage, they say you can still hear the echo of that 8-year-old girl's voice whispering, "Amazing Grace," into eternity. The magic that began in 1958 at Nutbush Baptist Church reminds us that greatness often starts with the smallest gestures, a little girl's hand reaching for a microphone, a pastor willing to take a chance, and a community ready to witness the birth of a legend. Anna Mae Bullock became Tina Turner through many struggles and triumphs, but the foundation was laid that Sunday morning when she discovered that music wasn't just something she could do, it was who she was meant to be. If this incredible discovery story moved you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'll continue sharing the most special moments in music history. Don't forget to click the bell icon to turn on your notifications so you won't miss our new videos. Write in the comments which music legend's first moments you'd like to hear about next. We'll research it for you. Remember, sometimes the greatest journeys begin with the smallest steps, just like that day when Anna Mae first met her microphone.